Are you a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues radio listener? Of course you are. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call real estate superstar Mike Burgoyne today at 314-753-4060 or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com to earn special rates today.
A proven winner on the hockey rink, Joe Wolf knows what it takes to be the best. That's why he has the best rates in the area and only has rave reviews of his work with Wolf Power Washing. Get that siding back to its original color with Joe. Call him at 314-420-5434. That's 314-420-5434. Hey everyone, and welcome to this special edition of Let's Go Blues Radio, the original and longest running Blues Hockey Podcast. This is episode number 39 of season 13 and episode number 470 of all time. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by Mike Burgoyne of Real Brokerage Realty. Contact Mike at mike@strikewithmike.com or call him at 314-753-4060 and get started selling your current home or buying a new home today. And by Wolf Power Washing. If you're in the St. Louis area and need the services of a professional power washer, Joe Wolf is your guy. Call him at 314-420-5434 and get the best prices in the area. On today's show, we have a very special guest. He's a YouTube and social media sensation and a St. Louis native, known as Kane Van Gate around the hockey world, but known by his family and friends as Keith Van Gels. Keith has taken on this persona. It's taken on a life of itself, almost literally, with Kane Van Gate. If you're maybe not following hockey influencers or social media icons, whatever you want to call them. I know there's a million different words. I think Keith and I can get into it a little bit about what it's called. But Keith, he plays locally. Goalie, plays in the BHL over in Brentwood. He's been to countless NHL events and arenas. He's got a sponsorship with Bauer. Does a lot of really fun stuff with his YouTube channel, with his Instagram, with everything. He's probably even on TikTok. That's one area I'm not in, but I don't know. I need to get with the kids, right, and get my ass on TikTok. He even has a feature-length movie out. Called Hockey Journey. If you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. And he's a former coworker of mine, and I know that's what he likes to tell people. That's his claim to fame. He used to work with me. We used to work at the Total Hockey Global Headquarters, as we used to call it, RIP, as Total Hockey is no more, now Pure Hockey. But yeah, that is where Keith and I met, and we saw each other every day. And he got to know my crazy antics. I got to know his. And it was fun catching up with them and getting to have a nice little conversation with Keith to share with you all. We even play a little game associated with Total Hockey in this interview, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But more about Keith or Kane in a bit. First of all, I am recording this in the evening. Typically, I don't do that. Usually on these pre-recorded episodes, I would try to record them either on my lunch break or in the morning really early. So I'm actually recording in the evening, so I have a beer of the episode. Very rare that I will have a beer of the episode on a show I'm doing myself, but we do. It is Schnickel Fritz from our friends over at Urban Chestnut. One of the more delightfully colored cans. Just a nice little smooth beer. That's good stuff. Bavarian style Weissbier Ale is what they say. And if you want to know what they say on the side of the can here, the unmistakable characteristics of the Bavarian-style Weissbier are achieved with a yeast that creates a decidedly fruity and phenolic beer. You may also note clove and banana-like aromas and flavors as you pour and enjoy this beer in a traditional tall wheat beer glass. And of course, I do not have it in a glass tonight, but normally I would. But yeah, I just wanted to shout out our friends at Urban Chestnut, part of the show, part of one of our pre-recorded shows. Big deal for them, I'm sure. And then one thing I wanted to get to before we get to Kane or Keith or KVG, whatever. We did forget our last week. For those of you who maybe missed it, we did go live last week for the first time since April. Bill Day and I went live and we discussed it's so funny how last week there was no shortage of news. I mean, clearly, yes, you had NHL events. The Stanley Cup final ended, and then the NHL draft, and then just days later was NHL free agency. So just a very, very, very busy time on the management side of the NHL. We just had so much news to go over last week. This week, literally nothing. We have not heard anything from the Blues in about a week at this point. So, of course, as I said, I'm recording this Tuesday night on July 9th. So we'll see. Maybe tomorrow something changes. Kind of hope not going to lie, because I want to have to re-record this. But we did skip over one signing last week that I did not mention. So I wanted to bring that up real quick. It is the Blues did sign a defenseman named Corey Schueneman to a 1-year, 2-way contract. He will earn $775,000 when he's at the NHL level. Schueneman is 28 years old, and he's appeared in 64 regular season games last season with the AHL's Colorado Eagles. He posted 22 points, 4 goals and 18 assists, and 24 penalty minutes. He does have some NHL experience. He's played 31 career NHL regular season games with the Montreal Canadiens. He logged 7 points in that time, 2 goals and 5 assists. Depth signing. There's a reason we passed him over. No offense to Corey Schueneman. Welcome to the Blues. We're happy to have you in the Blues family. But just so much news last week that this one got skipped over. Doubt we'll see him in the NHL. Maybe we'll get him on a call-up since he's got some NHL experience. He's quite the veteran in the AHL at this point, too, at 28 years old. So a name to look out for. There might be a call-up at some point if there's injuries to the defense. I think there might be a couple guys ahead of him on the depth chart. But I'm just thinking of past Blues depth defensemen like Chris Butler, who was called up, and he did play a lot when the Blues needed him. So maybe that's who this guy turns out to be. But yeah, right now Corey Schueneman probably slated to be on your top pairing, maybe even second pairing down in Springfield. We'll see if he gets any minutes in the NHL. So as I said, we've got a very special guest. So before we get to Mr. Kane Van Gate, you're going to hear from our awesome sponsors. Again, you are listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. I am your host, Jeff Ponder. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We'll return after these messages.
As a hockey player, Mike Burgoyne knows a thing or two about making the perfect play. And when it comes to real estate, he's always ready to score the winning goal for his clients. If you're a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues radio listener looking to score the home of your dreams, you'll receive special rates with Mike. Go ahead, shoot some questions his way, and he'll have the answer quicker than Curtis Joseph on a breakaway.
Curtis Joseph got the pedal down!
Any barriers? Mike will mow them down like Chris Pronger in front of the net. He'll score you your dream home or sell your existing home faster than a Brett Hall one-timer.
Flip past the Hall, he shoots, he scores!
See Burgoyne's real estate prowess in action today by emailing him at mike@strikewithmike.com or by calling 314-753-4060. That email again is mike@strikewithmike.com, and that phone number is 314-753-4060. Getting Mike Burgoyne on your team will be the boost your power play needs.
Well, honey, I just priced the power washing for the house, and I think we should just move and condemn this place. It'll be cheaper.
Did you try Wolf Power Washing?
Who?
Oh, I just saw this guy win the Stanley Ponder Cup Memorial Tournament and thought he was attractive, so I looked him up on social media, and it turns out he's the owner and proprietor of Wolf Power Washing. He claims he has the best prices in town.
But does he use non-flammable, non-toxic chemicals that are safe for Wolfie and our son, little Magnus?
Yes, he ensures there'll be no residue left behind, and he doesn't use any volatile vapors.
Well, this fella sounds like a dream. I just wish I knew how to contact him.
Oh, I know how. You can reach him at 314-420-5434.
314-420-5434, and his name is Joe Wolf of Wolf Power Washing?
That's right.
But how did you know his number so quickly?
I'll never tell.
Wait, what?
That's Wolf Power Washing at 314-420-5434. And make sure to tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
And we're back from break, and I'm joined by, some of you know him as KVG. Some of them you know him as Kane Van Gate. Someone like me may know him as Keith Van Gels. But we are joined by the greatest BHL goalie of all time, Mr. Well, I guess I don't know. Are you the greatest goalie of all time, or is it Kane Van Gate? I think it's kind of synonymous with each other. But either way, my friend, Keith Van Gels, Kane Van Gate, as you know him on YouTube and other social media platforms, joins the show right now. Thank you very much, KVG, for joining me today.
Absolutely, Jeff. Thanks for having me on. Excited to talk about the adventures of YouTube and coaching goalies and all that good stuff. To answer your question, Kane Van Gate is the greatest BHL goalie of all time, but it's kind of twofold because when I enter those doors, I become him. You know what I mean? So
that's true.
And then when the game's over, it's back to reality.
So we're lucky enough because you are not in a rink right now. You're at home, so we actually get to talk to Keith.
Yes, that is true. This is Kaner's off the clock right now, so we're in my wife's office right now. So not much hockey decor, unfortunately, but hey, it's still good to be here nonetheless.
Oh, you look good. Like I said, the natural light makes it look very good, and you look like you're ready to talk about hockey.
Always.
So I wanted to ask you first. I mean, there's a lot of things that I could talk to you about that I want to get to, but first of all, I mean, this character, obviously, it's a play off your name, Keith Van Gels, Kane Van Gate. How did you come up with developing this character, and what made you think, like, I got something here, I'm going to run with it?
I got something here, I'm going to run with it took years and years and years. I think I was way late to the party on that one. I wish I realized sooner, like, hey, you could actually, this could be a little job for you. So I didn't start taking it seriously till about 6-7 years ago. I wish I did sooner. But anyways, I first had the idea to kind of do a parody video on YouTube, and I just got all this fancy new gear that I bought from Reebok at the time, Reebok CCM, whatever, and it had my initials, KVG, on it. That's just kind of was a nickname, my initials. And then in college, my teammates called me Keither. And then at the BHL here in Brentwood, everyone called me Gelsy. For whatever reason, that's just what everyone called me. So I get these pads, and it was kind of a joke because, like, at the time, you don't see a beer league goalie wearing like NHL custom caliber equipment. So I'm like, this all plays into our idea. Like, this can be part of it. Like, this is funny. And, normally those beer leaguers that take themselves way too seriously and think, oh, if only this or that, I could have made this or that, whatever. Oftentimes those guys are goalies because goalies are a little bit out there, it seems. So it all kind of came together. So I was like, I don't want to use my real name. What can I think of? And so we came up with Kane Van Gate because of the Keither, Kaner, Gelsy, Gatesy, and then, the KVG is just kind of doubles down. But anyhow, so that's kind of how that came about. We just wanted to do the one video. I tried getting like McClellan and other guys at the TH offices to kind of be the guinea pig and do it, and no one wanted to do it. So then I ended up being on camera, and I was like, I got the gear, maybe that's gonna be part of it, and it just kind of happened somewhat organically, I guess.
Yeah, and so you mentioned the TH offices. For those unaware, we're talking about Total Hockey. I wanted to call you Kane.
You can call me whatever.
Keith and I worked at Total Hockey together in the marketing department, and I do remember when you started to kind of, I guess, quote unquote, get big. I remember Bauer invited. I think they invited you out, and they asked you to kind of shoot some goalie videos with them. And I remember you coming into the office just being kind of elated, like, what, me? Like, they want me to do this? And I could be messing up that story, but I just remember the kind of start of it. And then and to see where you're at now today is just, it's incredible to see the journey that you've been on.
No, I think that was pretty accurate. That's how I remember it. I was like, really? I thought it was a joke. Honestly, I thought it was a prank. I kind of looked around the room because they pitched the idea to Total Hockey, and I think our owner is probably like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, they didn't know about my YouTube videos on the side. Like, they're just kind of like, huh? So they bring me into the room for some clarity, and that's why I'm looking around. I'm like, this is a joke, right? But once I realized they were serious, I'm like, this is awesome, because I literally sent a pitch to CCM. I won't be mad if anyone from there sees this or hears this, but I made a pitch to CCM. I thought it was a very reasonable ask, to kind of keep that going, Reebok CCM, and I mean crickets. Like, they literally didn't respond. I emailed people, I DM'd people. I put forth a lot of effort, and I got completely ghosted by CCM. And then, like, literally 2 days later, that happened. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. And then as soon as I started working with Bauer, it was like 6 months later, I magically got responses to a couple of those messages. And I was like, I mean, I would have loved to, but I'm happy now. And honestly, it worked out, because Bauer takes great care of me. Their goalie gear is evolved and gotten so much. It's incredible. It's top of the line. So I feel like they spoil me, and it's such a lucky situation to be in. And I'm very grateful that that worked out, and that CCM kind of ignored me. Honestly, it worked out really well for me.
It's amazing how that works out, and I'll show you too. I'm sporting the Bauer for you, because I
Nice.
thought, man, I gotta do that. So no, I tell you, I remember when you said that you were sending out stuff to CCM and you were getting nothing, and then all of a sudden it's, you were in our spam folder, right? Like, I mean, what was
Yeah.
there had to be an excuse at some point, right?
Yeah, and there's no hard feelings. There's a guy who worked there who left for the USHL, and he was all about it initially. And once he left, no one was interested. And I get it. Like, no part of me was butthurt by any means, but I still was like, man, I feel like this could be a great way to market goalie equipment. You know what I mean? And so thankfully Bauer saw it that way too.
Yeah, and I'll say, I mean, obviously you do a lot of silly stuff, a lot of fun stuff on your channel, but there is a lot of like, hey, check out these new skates I got. Check out these leg pads that Bauer's now producing. Is that kind of, I mean, again, I know that there's different levels of fun and different things that make your videos exciting and fun to do, but do you like kind of trying out all the different goalie gear whenever it comes out?
I do. It's awesome. And, I'm getting a little up there in age, so I don't know if I can do this forever. I think my 15-year-old self would be so jealous if I sat him down and be like, here's what I do for a living. He'd be like, no way. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It is. And I think having that deal and that access to the gear and all that kind of stuff is definitely keeping me playing goalie as long as I possibly can,
Yeah,
but
no, that's fantastic. I mean, so let me ask you, if you're not doing Kane Van Gate, are you still playing hockey at this point in your life?
I am. I'm still at Brentwood. We're still in the quote unquote advanced league. We're the old guys now, but we're hanging on. I don't know if we're hanging on by a thread, but our better years are certainly behind us. And we're definitely not the worst team in the league. We're still pretty competitive. So I think as long as we're competitive, we'll probably keep doing it. But I mean, our end's near. I mean, we're the old team, like I said. So maybe, I don't know. We talk about this every Thursday night, but maybe 2-3 more years. But it's tough. Like, everyone's having kids and career changes and things like that. So and then COVID really messed things up for us quite a bit. But I feel like we're on a good track now as far as getting guys there, and more importantly, having a couple of cold ones in the lounge, aka parking lot, afterwards. So
Yep.
still doing that once a week. Yeah, and that's about it, man. I get asked, hey, you want to play goalie in this? And I always say, 99% of the time I have a conflict anyways, but I'm normally, even if I don't, I'm like, I just don't want to. It's with my hips and things like that. Like, I could, if I wanted to play multiple times a week, I could, but it's just not worth it. I think once a week is plenty for me.
Plus, I'm sure Friday mornings, as I know, as I still play, Friday mornings are a lot tougher now for you than they were 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I wake up at 4:30 every day, so those late games are really tough. I mean, I basically get a nap in before I get back to work, but that's all right.
Yep, I'm at 2 days a week right now playing, and yeah,
Oh boy.
it's Monday mornings, and then I play H&A, so it switches nights. The next day, it's like, oh, like every morning, it's the same thing. My eyes open for my alarm, and I say, how much longer am I going to do this? Like,
Yeah.
you're always kind of questioning it, because it does become that much tougher as you get older.
For sure. And once in a while, my wife will have something going on, or sometimes she's out of town for work, and then like my sister or whatever's with at home, with the little guy, and then I'm like, all right, boys, I can't hang out, and I go home, and I remember the next day, I'm like, oh, I feel great, like early game, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't have any beers. B, I went to bed at a reasonable hour, so yeah, I think it's the whole hanging out with the guys too late. But we used to be Tuesdays. And so now that we're Thursdays, like it's so much better because you're like, all right, I got to tough it out one day,
Yep.
get to the weekend, as opposed to being like, all right, how do I get this week back on the rails? Because we're off it right now. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So
Yep.
I love that we're Thursdays now.
Yeah, that's
That
fantastic.
helps.
Yeah, Sundays are the hardest for me because it's like, why we do Sundays? I'm starting my week off in the worst possible shape I could be in on Monday morning. So yeah, maybe I need to switch to Thursdays. Maybe I'll come
Oh,
over and shoot against you in the BHL.
that's so relatable. We did Sundays back at the old Hardee's when it was open, and I'm like, it's like starting a race, except I'm like 50 yards back of everyone else. Like when you start that Monday that way, like, why are we doing this? So
That's true. That is very
yeah,
true. I remember we used to. I don't know if you ever joined us. We used to do Tuesday morning skates at Total Hockey,
I did a
and
couple of those. Yeah.
they were great because like you wake up, you go play high. It was early. Like, we got them at like 6. It was like 6 a.m. and then we
Uh-huh.
do like 7 or 7:30. Then we all go to work at 8, and it was great. We'd feel, oh man, I feel energized. I'm great. But then about noon would hit, and it's like, why the hell did I do that? This is a
Nap time.
terrible idea.
You are riding high with those early morning workouts for sure. But yeah, I did 2 of those. So we used to play on Tuesday nights, so I think that's why I didn't do them. So maybe I played when you guys needed a goalie and I had a bye or something. But I remember going at least one of those, I thought, but who knows?
Yeah, they were fun, but man, they got a little competitive, and it made the afternoon on Tuesdays a little tougher.
Oh, I bet I remember now. I skated out. I didn't play goalie. I remember skating out because you just said competitive, and I remember going in the corner with someone, and they were just coming in hot. And I'm like, "It's your puck. I don't care.
All
Just
you.
take it." Like,
Yep,
I
that's how I
just
was
got
too.
just got a flash, but I'm like, I'm not gonna battle. It's too early for this.
Well, for people and me like me and you, I mean, this is the money maker. We can't let this get ruined.
That's right.
That's right.
Okay,
So,
baby.
that's right. So, again, obviously you've been doing Kane Van Gate now for a while. You have not only are you just going on the ice at Kirkwood or wherever. I know you've done some at Maryville, probably all over St. Louis at this point, but you have, I mean, you've gone all over. You've played. I want to talk to you mostly about Busch Stadium. You did that when the Winter Classic was here. You've played an All-Star game. Well, not in the All-Star games themselves, but you've been to the All-Star game and done events there. Vancouver, Miami. You've been all over. What is your either favorite rink or maybe just
Ooh.
favorite area to play hockey at?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, let me go back. By far, playing hockey at Busch Stadium is second to none, 100%. Shout out to Steve Albers for that one. Center Ice Brewery, Steve, he made that happen, and that was so big for me, and so I'm very grateful for that opportunity from him. That had to have been the coolest thing, but it's funny now. So I'm not the only one who has like a thing with Bauer. They work with other. They used to call us social media influencers, which is so lame. Now we're called content creators, which is way less lame, I think.
Yes, agree.
It's less lame, but us other content creators, like there's, Pavel Barber, Swaggy Pete, Nasher, kids love Nasher, Nick the goalie. There's all these guys, and we work with Bauer, and they send us to events and things like that, and then we get some gear and some kickbacks and whatnot. So we do different projects with Bauer. We don't work for the company, but we work with them. And then the NHL. This is really cool. Like the first time the NHL reached out to me, I was like, this is a prank. Someone's messing with me, and I'm like, this is spam. And I'm reading. I'm like, this is real. This is so cool. And so the NHL kind of hires us to go to these events, and we get access to things and get to meet people that we have no business meeting, and it's pretty freaking awesome. I think being in Miami was really neat. Or not really Miami, South Florida was really neat. Very different vibe than Toronto. Like like what's cooler than, you know, being on the beach with all your hockey buddies? That was fun. But then being in like the hockey mecca of the world, Toronto, where everyone loves and appreciates and knows the game, and they're not just yelling, shoot it, you know, at the game, they actually know what they're talking about. That was pretty neat. I guess I gotta go Toronto, like for the aforementioned reasons of just people being knowledgeable. And we did a bit down in Florida, not to make fun of the Stanley Cup champions and their fans, but we did a bit where I asked people like questions about either like their captain, their team, or like the player who literally they're wearing their jersey. And like half the time they're like, I don't know who that is, and you're like, you're wearing his jersey. And so it was like, it was a bit that was almost so bad that people thought it was staged. And I think we were like, you know what? Like, this is so bad that it's gonna make us look like jerks. So we just never posted it. But then
Oh,
you go to
wow.
Toronto and you talk to people and they can be like, oh yeah, I remember Sutter, he graduated here, he did this and blah blah blah. He was drafted for, like, they know everything. And so it's like such a different vibe. I love the beach, but Toronto's unmatched for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've never skated in Toronto, but I've been to a Hall of Fame game there when Al McInnes was inducted, and just the people, just talking to different people that were walking around the concourse, the people we sat by, they were all just such knowledgeable people, and it was incredible. And I would wear
Yeah.
my Al McInnes jersey out on the streets, and oh, I love Al. Oh, I remember when he was in Calgary in 1988. He did this, and I'm just like, my God, like these are my people. This is where I need to
Right.
be.
Yes, and that's you feel as a St. Louis guy. I know exactly what you mean. You get that in Minnesota and like you could say maybe like Detroit and you know what I mean. Other maybe Boston, maybe, but like probably more Minnesota and Canada where people just love it, breathe it, and then so for a guy like you or a guy like me, you're like these are my people. Like
Yep.
so true. We did a game, an outdoor game up in Toronto during the All-Star game. And it was oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on the name, but it was the whatever square where like the Maple Leafs had practiced there before,
Right.
just for fans to come watch. Just a cool thing. It's like in the middle of downtown, and they had us creators have a game, and I remember joking and being like, "Is anyone going to show up to this thing?" Like, and then the NHL guy Neil, who's the coolest dude ever, was like, KVG, we're in Toronto. Like, this isn't South Florida, because we did one in South Florida and like no one, I think like 8 kids showed up. It was like kind of to be expected. So I had low expectations and I get out on the ice and I mean, I don't know, a couple thousand people at least showed up. It was packed, people everywhere. And I was like, I haven't played in front of an actual crowd in a really long time. So just to, I'm kind of going on and on here, but just to get the point across that like hockey in Toronto is almost unmatched compared to all the other places I've been. But super lucky to have been to a lot of places thanks to Bauer and the NHL, and before that my own entrepreneurial spirit, I suppose.
Yep. Phillips Square, correct?
Phillip Square, yes, thank you.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
I
It
knew-
came to me like I was like, oh, I know what he's talking about. It finally
Yes.
hit me. Yep. That's
Phillip Square.
that's a
I was
cool
like,
spot.
I know you've heard of it. Yeah.
Yep. Very cool spot. So we mentioned Busch Stadium, and you said clearly that is like a memory that is, I'm sure, etched in your mind. Like one of the things that when you're on your deathbed, you will be thinking about, because even for me, who didn't skate on the ice, just being at the game itself, like that's something that I will always hold on as one of the greatest things I've ever experienced. But you got to actually skate on the ice. And I love in the video, you even call it out of you. It's somewhere on your YouTube channel. I remember you call it out that, well, the boys, the Blues and the Blackhawks, they got rain. We got snow. So you actually got to, not only was the experience awesome because you got to play hockey at Busch, but you had the elements with it too. I mean, that had to make it super special.
It was really special. My family was there, and honestly, like I took it in. There's so many times, maybe a couple pucks went by as I was doing such, but there were times where I was skating around, just looking around. I mean, it was as a lifelong St. Louis boy and Cardinals fan, Blues fan, and when those two teams, like it's like both those worlds collide. It was, as you know, like you said, it was really freaking cool. But yeah, I think I thanked Albers a million times for having me out there. Like not just for arguably my best YouTube video ever, but just that was the coolest thing. Never had more fun giving up goals than that skate.
So you are Kane Van Gate. You wear number 38, but at Busch Stadium, You got the wrong jersey number.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Was there a little bit of like anger? Like, oh, come on, man.
No. That whole thing was staged. I want to say he already ordered the jerseys before he even officially invited me or whatever. And he even called, because, Albers, he's a sharp guy. And so he was just like, hey, you're going to have to wear 30. Is that a problem? And immediately I go, no, we'll just make it a bit. Like anytime something doesn't go our way, we're like, just put it in the storyline. I'll act like I'm all bummed out about it. Like, no part of me cared. I just wanted to be there. They could have gave me a trash bag to wear over my chest. Yeah, I wouldn't have cared. So
yeah, you say you're not an actor, but you had the look on your face of disappointment. That was pretty well acted, sir.
No, that was 100% staged. But yeah, that was funny. A kid brought that up to me just a few days ago, actually. Something about like, remember when they gave you the wrong jersey number? And I'm like, what? And then he like gave me a little more context, and I was like, yes, I do. And he's like, that was hilarious. I'm like, thanks, buddy. Thanks for watching. Kids crack me up, man. Thank goodness for them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I want to ask you about with, playing against like young goalies and young shooters who are phenoms. Because again, I've been out on the rink with kids as a coach, and a lot of my friends have kids that play, and I'm like, this kid's already better than me, and he's 12 years old. Like, that's not fair.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's evolved so much. Like, there's kids I coach who are so much better than I was, but then again, it's the gear, the training, it's just different. Like, people think this is like an asinine comment, but it's pretty true. Like, you could take a 16-year-old AAA goalie right now and put him in 2005 NHL, he'd probably do just fine. Like, yeah. Maybe not like mentally and whatever, but just like one game, like that kid wouldn't get lit up. And it's amazing how much the game's evolved. I'm not saying he'd be as good as the NHL guys, but like it wouldn't look like a 16-year-old. It's weird how much the equipment and the coaching has so much to do with it too. But
so, I mean, obviously there's a lot that goes into goaltending. We could talk about it all day long, but in terms of just the improvement you've seen from kids now compared to when you and I were young, what's the difference? Are they quicker? Is the technique better? Are the pads that much lighter to where they can move faster? Like, what to you is the thing that really kind of stands out as to why goaltending has improved so much over the years?
Really good question. I think all of those are true. I think it has to do with being quicker, being faster, finding the more athletic kids to play goalie. A recent trend is like, hey, you don't have to be a 6'5" monster. You can be 5'10" and still stop the puck. You just got to move real quick. And as a goalie coach, like, nothing against the tall guys. Like, I don't discriminate tall or short, but that's the whole point, is like, if you're good, you're good, and I love that it's gone there. Not to get too far off the rails on this question, but I think there's so many more kids playing now. And a big thing with goaltending is like, and in the 90s you had the French Canadian influence, and then you get into the early 2000s and you've got like the Finns and the Swedes having a major influence, and then now it's the Russians and the Americans are kind of making their mark, Russia especially. So it's just like, the Finns and Swedes start doing that, then we find out and we start doing it too. And then they start doing that. So everyone is kind of copying each other. And it's got to the point where goaltending is like, it's not totally unified. Like, there's only one way to do it, but it's definitely more that way now than it was 10, 15, 20. And like, when I was a kid, every goalie coach I had told me something completely different, like completely different. And so I was like, I don't know what to do. This seems to work for me, so I'm going to do this. And now you definitely have different perspectives and different techniques and whatnot, but it's a lot more unified now than it ever was. And I think that has something to do with, some people poo-poo that, like, oh, you guys are making robots, and you can be overly technical. Like, that is a thing. Sometimes you just got to dive and just get in front of it or do what you got to do. But I think that has a lot to do with the evolution of the position. And then with players, I think it's same thing. There's more talent, there's more skill, there's more instruction, but those sticks, like, I can rip a bomb in the top corner now. I mean, I'm on the ice every day, so it'd be sad if I couldn't, but like, it's the stick. Like, those sticks I couldn't have done that 15 years ago with the sticks I was using. So the technology has definitely helped the players as well. So it's like this game like cat and mouse where you guys figure this out and we figure out how to stop it. Then you figure out how to score here and then we how to stop it, where we both think we're the cat, but I think goalies might be the mouse if I'm being honest.
That's true. Yeah, and so you mentioned the equipment. So you've put on you've got videos and again working at Total Hockey with you. I remember us getting like old vintage gear and just checking it out and all of us trying it on. But yeah, from let's say 1970s, 1980s to today, 2024. I mean, the weight of the equipment is what stands out to me. I mean, what else for you stands out as the big difference in goalie equipment?
Yeah, you mentioned that, and that's a really good point. I forgot, like the weight's crazy different. So it used to be deer hair, stuff with deer hair, which was like back then it was designed to absorb the puck, absorb rebounds, and now it's the polar opposite. You don't want rebounds sitting in front. You want it so the pads now sling pucks off. Sometimes the shot comes in, it goes off my pad just as fast, if not faster. And there are these like light foams now. So the weight, 100% massive advantage for these goaltenders, but also the protection. Like when I was growing up, I never left the high school practice without having a bruise or a welt or something on my body somewhere. It was just kind of part of the deal. Now, when a kid gets one of those, like like they'll freak out, and it's like, but the protection's so much better. So mentally, it's so much easier for you to be fearless, right? But the lightweight has a ton to do with it. I think it being ultra protective, and then it's just, things slide better. They seal the ice better. Blockers are able to, like you don't have to rotate your wrist so much to put the puck in the corner now. They're kind of designed and angled the way to where you just have to just barely angle your wrist down and the puck goes exactly where you want it. There's so many advantages in the gear where if, when I was still playing real hockey or meaningful hockey, whatever you want to call it, before beer league, I guess, if I tried on this gear, I'd be like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this is what these guys are wearing in 2024. Like, what? And
Yeah.
I think Bauer is a huge I'm not just saying that because they're my main sponsor, but Bauer kind of led the charge in that with goaltending, and now everyone's copying Bauer, everybody. So
The skates are what I've noticed is just, I mean, for all skates, all players, but
Yeah.
goalie skates, my God, they've gotten so much lighter and
Yeah.
you just feel like you're gliding so much quicker when you're on them.
For sure. And now they have a hinge system. I don't know if you know this. This is like new as of like a year ago, where they're like ski boots now. Bauer makes them, and True just came out with their copying version. CCM's probably making their copy, but Bauer, they hinge like this. And so it's kind of like having ski boots where like you can lean forward and backward and keep your balance. And the first time I used these, I was like, this is a cheat code. Like I thought I was going to retire at 40. Like I'm retiring at 50 now. Like I freaking love them. They're awesome.
That's incredible.
And I think I have such bad hips, and they alleviate some pressure when you try to like push. And so I don't know. I think those skates are giving me a couple more years in the BHL. So it's pretty
Good.
cool what they got now.
Couple more years of Kane Van Gate. We'll take it. So you mentioned all the equipment and how protective it's been. And since you started, doing the Kane Van Gate videos, the equipment just keeps getting better. But has there ever been a situation where you're doing a video and because, you do a lot of like shootouts, you do trick shots. I remember one where you were showing how to stop the Michigan.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a situation where you've taken a puck or a stick in what is supposed to be a kind of filmed and scripted video where it's like, oh, hang on, stop filming. Oh, I hurt. Has that ever happened?
Yes. The one that comes to mind was in Toronto with Barber, and I think we did 2 or 3 of those silly Michigan videos, but he did one where it was like he was letting me save it at first, and then he started doing all this crazy stuff. And he was legitimately faking me out so much that I went and turned this way, and then he was already here, and I went back, and that puck just hit me right in the Adam's apple, and I was just like just coughing. I'm like, time out, we need a break. And so, I mean, it was obviously an accident. We were cracking up. Well, I wasn't for a couple minutes, but eventually we were cracking up. But that one, yeah, my throat hurt for pucks off the throat don't feel good. So I felt that one. And then not Kane Van Gate, but back in the Total Hockey days, Brock Wilson ripped a 1T, and I thought he was keeping it low. I should have had my hands out and able to get my glove in front of it, but I just wasn't ready, and he hit me between the eyes, and like my cage like I mean, he blew me up. It looked awful on camera. Like I had a headache for a while. It was pretty bad. So that was probably the worst blooper. But
Brock
but yeah,
can
I don't
rip
know.
it,
Like
too.
I'm so used to getting bruises and marks on my body from playing goalie that it happens, and my wife's like, "What's that from?" I'm like, "Probably hockey." I don't know when, but like I don't know.
Yeah,
Kind of part of
what
the
I always tell
territory.
my wife whenever I get like a bruise from, like, I don't know, walking into the bed frame or something, it's like,
That
it's
happens too.
more rare where I'm like, hey, this one's not a hockey bruise. Like, check this out.
Yeah. Yeah, I walk into that. We know our house isn't the biggest house in the world, so I make the mistake of towing like the bed corner and that stuff. So yeah, that hurts me more than the pucks do nowadays,
Oh, yeah.
thankfully.
Yeah, you're kind of ready for the puck, right? You're not ready. Like, I told the story on this show back in, was that 2022 playoffs when Tyler Bozak scored in game 5 against the Avalanche in overtime. I jumped up. I was like, oh my God. And I kicked the hell out of my ottoman, broke my toe.
Ooh,
From celebrating a goal. So yeah,
jeez.
I that hurt worse than any shot I've taken to the face, to the shoulders, to the legs.
Yeah.
That one hurt.
Toes and fingers, depending on how the break is. I shattered a finger once. It's brutal. It is. You can't do anything. So like, it's not to get too off topic, but when people are like, "Oh, baseball player can't play because he broke his finger," I'm like, "How the hell are you supposed to play baseball with a broken finger? That'd be so
Yeah,
painful."
try throwing like this.
Yeah, I'm like, baseball players are not wimps. It's just a different sport. They stand in front of that ball with no pads on. Those guys aren't wimps. But, anyways, but yeah,
The
dude,
one
that's
that the
brutal.
one that scared me with you and Barber, Pavel Barber, did a blindfolded floorball challenge.
Yeah,
That one, I remember watching that one and just being like, "Oh my God, Kane's gonna get killed." Because literally both of you are blindfolded. For those that haven't seen it, you
yeah.
are like on your knees in front of the goal, and it is floorball, so it's not a 90 mile
Those
an
things
hour.
hurt. They
They
hurt way
still
more
hurt.
than you think. Like
They do hurt.
they
And
really
so
do
you're
hurt.
both blindfolded and you're both kind of doing like this Marco Polo thing where you're trying to guess where the other person is. He's ripping shots, you're trying to block him. And I'm like, Kane's going to take one to the throat. Like, this is not a good idea.
He beat me up. Well, like thankfully in that shootout, he wasn't shooting that hard. But like earlier when he was like actually shooting to shoot, that thing, it like first of all, it changed his direction and like he just lit me up like a Christmas tree, but he hit me in the chest. I had a bruise, like a circle there for like a week. Like a puck's
Oof.
never done that to me before. So you're also not wearing padding, you know what I mean? I think I had a jock on. You have like soccer goalie gloves and then a face mask, and that's it. So it was a lot of like the first shot where I hit it hurt so bad that I'm like, I just didn't expect it to. I'm like, whatever, it's a wiffle ball. It's not. It's heavier than a wiffle ball, so it stings a bit. So you have to like, just like when you're about to get punched or whatever, if you like tense up, it's not gonna hurt as bad. So that whole blind shootout, I'm like tensed up, and I'm just like, I want to get hit, but I don't want to get hit. Like this is the worst idea ever. But like the kids love silly stuff like that. So and Barber's so good about doing that kind of silly stuff and just seeing what works and seeing what kids like and don't like and kind of running with it. But anytime we get to do stuff with him, like we're acting like 8-year-olds, which but it's just fun. We're grown men acting like 8-year-olds, making videos for 8-year-olds, but I enjoy it.
Hey,
It's fun.
if you've ever seen Let's Go Blues Radio, immaturity makes this show. So we're right there with you.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and yeah, it's just, it's just fun. We do this for fun and we do it, yeah, there's some money involved, but at the same time, if you don't enjoy your life, what are you doing? And
Exactly.
seems like you guys really enjoy it when you get together and make these videos.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, he and I have a little too much fun together, but
So I wanted to ask you about, like what are the videos that comes to mind? I think you might have done it at Swing Around. I can't remember exactly what place it was.
Yes.
But you did the, you basically said, this is my off-season training. You did the Happy Gilmore, except you went in with like your glove and your blocker, and you're trying to glove and block like the fastball in the batting cage. You also did some stuff with the putt-putt. But I mean, clearly you're out with people. You didn't rent this place out by yourself.
No.
How and we our friend of the show, Amanda Levier at the PWHL, she had a series on her Instagram where she was doing normal stuff in goalie pads. So she'd like go out and walk her dog in goalie pads. And
I've seen her on Instagram. I think I'm pretty sure I follow her, but yeah, I've seen her do that on Instagram.
Yeah, so she's done a lot of crazy stuff, and she told me once that the hardest thing to get over is just, I look ridiculous. I just need to do this. Do you ever feel that way when you do those kind of videos?
Every time, always. But like, it's like a wave of, I look like an idiot right now, but then you're like, this is the point. I'm choosing to do this. And then you're like, who cares? So it's like, yeah, at first I used to get some anxiety about it. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm going back to the Total Hockey days. One time they had me go to the Bauer tournament, which is now the CCM Invite. And like, I had to do that and be a goofball in front of like hundreds and hundreds of people. And after that, it was kind of one of those, like, if I can do that, I can do any of this stuff. Cause I was so far out of my comfort zone, man. Like, so far out of my comfort zone. I mean, hundreds of people. And I don't remember what I had to do or say, but it was pretty ridiculous. And so anyways, yeah, there's always that wave of like, I look like such an ass right now. Sorry if I said a bad word on the show.
All the time on the show. You're good.
But okay, good. But the more you like, obviously I don't take myself too seriously or else I wouldn't be doing this. Like, the more you do this, like, my skin is so thick. I've auditioned for so many commercials and been told no more than I can even think of. So rejection toughens you up a bit. Looking like an idiot in public toughens you up a bit, I think. But yeah, 15 years ago, there's no way I could do some of the stuff I'm doing now. And like, as you know, like, you get older and you just like, you stop caring what people think and you just kind of do what you want to do. And I wish I learned that sooner, but hey, better late than never, right? So
that's true. That's true, and it's a good lesson for our kids. Something I wanted to bring up too, and this was a couple of years ago, but worth mentioning because it was incredible to see. Just again, somebody like you, like me, who's a beer leaguer at heart. Yeah, you've got this YouTube channel with, I mean, I don't even know how many followers, but at the same time, we're hockey guys who didn't make the NHL. You have a movie.
Not even close.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What was the last
Same
part
here.
you said? I cut
Same
you
here. You have a movie that you
yeah?
created, and it's called Hockey Journey. I remember it was on Amazon. I'm not sure if it's still on Amazon Prime or not. But either way, tell me about Hockey Journey. What made you want to make your own movie?
I'll try to not be too winded with this, but yeah, you can go to hockeyjourney.com to see the trailer. It's no longer on Amazon. Once Amazon Prime kind of went big time, they kind of kicked us small guys to the curb, which kind of sucks. But anyhow, you can still download it. I think it's like a $8 download, I believe. But anyhow, my former video guy, business partner, still a good friend, David Delaney, is who kind of helped me get this started. Our first video was BHL 36, and we kind of put our heads together. He shot it, he edited it for me. I don't know how to edit. I never edit my YouTube videos. There's a couple I have, and they look so bad. I think I took them down. But anyhow, he was like, we got to make a movie. And I'm like, to be honest, I was so against it. I didn't want to do it. Not that I didn't want to make a movie. Like, that sounded so cool, but like, I just knew this is going to be so much work. There's two of us. Like, we don't have any money. Like, there's a million reasons why I was like, we're not just going to make a movie to make a movie. And it's funny because we almost kind of worked backwards, where we started getting these opportunities from people, whether it be Bauer, the Hockey Shop BC, or eventually the NHL, and people like, will you go to this event and this event? And so we got invited to Vancouver and did this awesome trip, and then we're like, all right, let's make it like kind of like a documentary style. Like, let's just kind of tell what's going on. Why are we here? And kind of shoot it like that and see what happens. So we did it. We got some good stuff. And we're like, this isn't enough. There's no like beginning, middle, and end. Like, what are we doing? And then we're like, we need at least X amount of dollars to even figure out this and that, whatever. So we did a Kickstarter campaign, which was the most stressful thing I've ever done, because I'm not the kind of guy who asks people for money. Like, not that there's anything wrong with that. I just, like, I'm not a salesman. Like, you say no, I'll be like, all right, cool, see you later. Like, I won't be like, I'm not one of those guys who won't take no for an answer. It's just not in my DNA. So to kind of put yourself out there and run the risk of failure, like, I didn't want to do it. Thank goodness, thanks to some random guy who just happened to be at Center Ice Brewery, we got enough funds to be able to reach our goal and keep it. And without that, we wouldn't have been able to finish shooting the film. So we finish shooting it, we get everything shot, and we're like, all right, we have a beginning, middle, and end. We know what we're gonna do, and yada yada. But then you get to post-production, and like, dude, editing an 8-minute YouTube video versus an 88-minute feature length is very, very different animal. So like, we had 2 MacBooks crash, we lost multiple hard drives. There was a time where Dave lost about 30 hours of editing work, where he was so mentally like, I don't want to go back and do it. And I'm like, you have to, bro. And then it got to a point where I'm like, dude, I keep seeing all these people at the rink who gave us money, and they keep asking about the movie. I'm like, I don't even know what to tell them anymore. So there's so much stress on the back end of this. But at the rink, I'm like, oh, it's great. Everything's great. And blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And I got to the point where I'm just like ripping my hair out of my head. And we finally got it done. Dave worked his butt off, thankfully. So that was the hardest, most stressful thing I've ever done in my life. I would love to do it again. I would love to make it a series, but doing my own crowdfunding, like, never again. I'm not doing that. Even though it was a success, like, I don't want to do that. So I would love to do feature lengths, like, with a real budget, a real group of people to work with, not just one dude. You know what I mean? Like, it was a lot. But anyways, we got it done. And so all that being said, as stressful as it was, like, at the end of the day, we looked at each other like, holy shit, dude, like, we did it. And we had a big premiere at Chaminade College Preps Theater. Thankfully they were kind enough to let us at a very discounted rate host there, and tons of people showed up. It ended up being a great event. People seem to love it. It's obviously not the best movie in the world, but it's if you're a hockey lover, it's a good little, we call it a hockey-mentary, but it's a good little hockey documentary that, boy, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that thing. So just getting it done was not an accomplishment by any means, but just a relief for us. So, but yeah, a lot of passion went into that for sure.
I'll add that, you mentioned your crew was very small and it was mostly Dave doing it, but I mean, the production value is fantastic. You guys did a real good job with it. And I know you're right, man. I've been in situations, even with just this show, or we're producing something and it's like, oh, all that footage is gone. Oh, that editing I just did, the computer crashed. Like, oh, that is the most frustrating feeling in the world. But when it's done and it's over, it's something you can be proud of. And it's something you can say, guys, we stuck it out and we did it. Thank God.
100%. And I really appreciate the kind words. It's really nice of you to say. I mean, Dave did so much freaking work. I worked my butt off too, but there's so much time where things are out of my hands and he's editing and I'm waiting, right? So there's without question, he did the majority of the work. But yeah, so thankfully that got done. And yeah, I'd love to do more of those. I think that could be a series. I really do. But unless I get an angel investor, I don't know if that's going to see the light of day. But
well,
yeah,
if you have money and you like Kane Van Gate, you listen to Let's Go Blues Radio, reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with them.
Yeah, we'll either build a mini training facility here in St. Louis for me to coach goalies, or we'll keep going with Hockey Journey. You tell me, I'll do either one.
How about both? Why not?
Yeah, why not?
All right, KVG, I have one thing I want to do with you here at the end of the episode. I hope you don't mind that I am springing this on you.
Let's
want to play a little trivia game?
Sure.
All right. This is a fun one.
Make me look like a dummy here, but that's all right.
Oh, it's not your typical type of trivia. So you mentioned we worked at Total Hockey together. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we loved, and I'm going to mention him by name because he was a great man, Jake Pratt.
Yeah.
He was our copywriter for a while before I ended up stepping into the role. He had a lot of great headlines and taglines over the years. And we all used to just laugh in the office together like, oh, my God, Jake, that one's great. Let's do a little trivia game where I ask you, basically, here's the product, and here are 4 choices that basically, was this a real headline used by Total Hockey?
This will be fun.
All right.
Okay.
And I want to thank Web Archives for still storing images from Total Hockey's website, because I was able to pull a lot of these up. All right, here we go. So
shout out to Jake, by the way. Very nice man.
Shout out to Jake. Good man. Very good man. Which of these is a real tagline used on Total Hockey's website for Tower hockey bags? Is it give your equipment its own floor, Tower of Power, everything in multiple places, take me to the top?
Give your equipment its own floor.
That is correct.
Cool.
Very nice. All right, you're 1 for 1. All right, here's what's a real tagline used on the site for spy shades? I don't even know if those are still around, by the way.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking good, do wonders for your image, rock star shades, good looking out.
Well, I was going to say looking good. Originally, that sounded familiar, but I don't think you give me 2 option A's in a row. I'm going to go with good looking out.
You are 2 for 2, sir. Congratulations, man. All right. Which of these is a real headline used on the site for Warrior Dynasty gloves? These gloves are stars in the making. These mitts were made for scoring, and that's just what they'll do. Welcome to the show, the glove show, that is, the new dynasty.
What was the first one again?
These gloves are stars in the making. Want me to run through them real quick again?
Yeah, well, you won't. Sorry.
That's all right. These gloves are stars in the making. These mitts were made for scoring, and that's just what they'll do. Welcome to the show, the glove show, that is, and the new dynasty.
I want to say the second one because that's so funny, but I can also picture you writing that as an option, and it's not really it. So I'm going to say option. I don't think this is right either, but my gut tells me option 4. The dynasty. Was that the 4th one?
The new dynasty?
The new dynasty.
That is incorrect.
Dang it.
And you are right. I did write the second one because
I was like,
that
has to be you. That has
yep.
to be.
No, his was welcome to the show, the glove show, that is.
Dang it.
Yep. That's all right. That's all right. You're still 2 for 3. All right. Which of these is a real tagline used on the site for CCM tailor-made RBZ Superfast stick? Is it attract the right type of attention, it's deep red and it's beautiful, zoom like a sports car, or super fast, super awesome?
Super fast, super awesome.
That is incorrect.
Oh,
that's another Jeff Ponder special. It was attract the right type of attention.
Really? Oh man,
Yeah.
I remember that photo shoot really well.
Yep.
It's like a beautiful day. Oh man.
Yep.
Oh,
That's a
bummer.
good one. All right, 2 for
50%.
4. Yep. Which of these is a real headline used on the site for gong show hats? True hockey lifestyle style. Say it all
Wait,
without saying.
Hold on. Style used twice in a row.
True hockey lifestyle style.
Okay.
Say it all without saying anything at all. Wear its hat. Wear with pride.
Say it all without saying anything at all.
That is incorrect. It is wear its hat.
No way.
Yes.
This
So
game
you are
is so awesome and so hard.
I tell you, I had a lot of fun coming up with the fake headlines.
I bet, man. I bet, that's got to be so fun.
This really brought me back to our old Total Hockey days.
Oh,
All right,
God.
number 6.
Will
Which
you
of
call me
these
next week? Can we play this again?
Oh, of course. Yeah, we'll do it every week. New segment on the show. Which of these is a real headline used on the site for Warrior shoes? I am the Warrior. Foot fighters. These shoes were made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. And walk like a warrior.
The second one was Warrior Walker. What was the second one?
First one is I Am the Warrior, and the second one was Foot Fighters.
I'm gonna go with Foot Fighters.
That's correct.
Yes.
Good work. 3 for
Okay.
6. All right, you're back to 50%.
All right.
All right, number 7. We got 10. Which of these is a real headline used on the site for super feet insoles? Go Elite, Super Feet, Super Awesome, Athlete's Foot, or Foot Soldiers?
The first one. Wait, hold on. No, I thought the first two were the same thing. Sorry, can you read the first two?
Go
again?
Elite is the first one. The second one
Okay.
is Super Feet, Super Awesome.
That
And then
second one. Super Feet,
that,
Super Awesome.
that one?
Yeah.
That is incorrect. It is
Dang.
Athlete's Foot.
No, okay. When you read those, I was like, there's no way we would put Athlete's Foot to market a foot product. Like, there's no way.
I have
We
the
did
image
it.
to show you.
We did it. We freaking did it.
I remember when that went online and John Lynch coming over and going, does our website really say Athlete's Foot for insoles? And I'm like, yeah, it does.
John was so underratedly funny. Oh man.
He was great.
God.
All right. Number 8. Which of these is a real headline used on Total Hockey site for Easton Pro 2 gloves? Was it handpicked style, all hands on deck, let's get handsy, or hands of feet? I'm sorry, hands of feel. So that's
Let's get
handpicked
handsy
style,
is
all hands
so
on
inappropriate. Hands of
Yes.
hands of
Let's
feel.
get handsy and hands of feel.
I'm gonna go with hands of feel.
That is correct.
Yes.
You are 4
Dude,
for
I
8.
swear some of these half of these have been just lucky guesses, but like hands of feel, I remember like a couple of these taglines I remember.
That was one that I remember too.
Yeah.
Because our friend Ryan Villamontes came up with Hands of Steel. Remember that?
Yes, I did.
That
I
was
actually that was like my second or third Kane Van Gate video. I was like, do you guys care if I make like a commercial, but it's not gonna make fun of your product, it's gonna make fun of me? And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then I did it, and they're like, this is great.
Yeah, and that was an awesome product. It was basically just this steel ball that you'd rub on your hands after hockey, and it would make your hands smell. But it wouldn't smell anymore, which was great. It was something that he said like fishermen used or something.
Yeah, fishermen, and now like a lot of people put them in their kitchens. Like if you cook with onions and whatever, the smell, and the smell gets stuck in your hands. So you see, we don't have one, but I've seen them in other kitchens. It's kind of the same kind of product, but that was a good idea by them for sure.
Oh, very much so. All right, 2 more. Which of these is a real headline used on the site for Sherwood 9950 goalie sticks? This is right up your alley.
I love those. I used to love
Oh, those are great sticks. I've got 9950 problems, but my stick ain't one. Return of the Mac. Sherwood like to try this stick out. Get your goalie stick groove on.
Sorry, the third one really got me. What was the fourth one?
Get your goalie stick groove on.
Sorry, what was the first option? I think it's that
First,
one.
I've got 9950 problems, but my stick ain't one.
I feel like we try really hard to get a Jay-Z reference in there, even though it doesn't really. I'm gonna go with option A, the Jay-Z one.
I am going to. You know what? I'm gonna say this. That was actually one that we pitched, but we were told we couldn't use it.
Okay.
But I wanted to see if you remembered it. It seemed like you kind of do.
That kind of rings a bell for some reason, and I remember, yeah. So
yeah,
what was
we were
the
told
was
we
the
can't
correct
use
answer?
that one. So I'll give you the pass on that. It's either Return of the Mac, sure would like to try this stick out, or Get your goalie stick groove on.
I'm gonna say not Return of the Mac and not Get your goalie stick groove on. The other option. Sorry,
Sure would like to try this stick on.
Sure would like to try to stick out, even though I can so see you writing that as and cracking up.
You're right. I did write that one.
Okay, yeah.
It was
it Return of the Mac?
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know.
Gosh,
I thought the
I
same
wish I could do
thing.
that one.
I saw it. I was like, "What was that stick called? The Mac or something? What is?
Yeah,
what is
that's
that?"
why I was like, that has nothing to do with the stick at all.
That was the headline.
Oh my god! I should
All
have
right,
got
one
that
more.
one. You were trying to help me, and I still couldn't figure it out. Oh,
That's all right. That's all right.
You're
You're
nice.
still 4 for 9. That's good.
It's all right.
Let's get you to 50% here. One last
Yeah.
question. Which of these is a real headline used for a roller hockey skate collection? Was it roller derby, get in line soldier, roll before you walk, or in line is greater than ice? You want those options again?
My God, it's so funny. Every time you say one, yeah, do it again, please. Sorry.
All right, we've got roller derby, get in line soldier, roll before you walk, or in line is greater than ice.
Roll before you walk makes kind of more sense because they're for like little kids, right?
Mhm.
Like that would make sense. But what was the last one? Get in line, soldier.
Get in line soldier was the second one. Fourth
Sorry,
one
okay.
is in line is
In line
greater
is
than
better
ice.
than ice. So that's like another athlete's foot thing where I'm like, why as an ice hockey company would we ever say that? That would make zero
I
sense.
love your deductive reasoning. This
I'm
is great.
taking this very seriously, right? You can't tell. So I'm gonna go with that because it's like, why do we ever say inline is better than ice? That makes no sense. We're primarily an ice hockey company, but that's my answer.
That is incorrect.
Dang it. Okay.
This is one of my favorites, and this was one that I actually had fake printed on a T-shirt that I wanted to print out and give to Jake. It was "Get in line, soldier," with "in line" being one word.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that rings a bell a little bit.
I loved that one. I don't know why, but that one I remember seeing it, and it just tickled me, and I just laughed for days.
You crushed this game. This reminds me of there's a game that's like an adult game. It's hilarious where there's like one real answer and then everyone comes up with a fake answer or
what is
no. You're trying to guess who is what or something like that. Where
there
you
is
can just
what is that game called?
Do you know what I'm talking about? It reminds me of this.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Those are the kind of games I love. Like
yeah, me too.
Monopoly and playing poker. Like I would rather punch the wall, like just bang my head against the wall. I get so bored. But like a game like that where you can get creative, sign me up. Love it.
I heard there's some game out now that's like speed Monopoly. It's like Monopoly, but it's way quicker, and you can get done like within an hour. I need to check that out because that was always my problem. It's funny because how does the joke is how does every Monopoly game end? Fuck this, I'm done.
Yeah. I've never played a full game of Monopoly in my life, and I just didn't. I was just a very impatient person. I don't like golf either. Just
too slow. I get that. Keith, this has been awesome. I mean, for many reasons, just having you on the show, as I said before, it's been 13 seasons. I can't believe I've never had you on before, and just reconnecting with you. It's been, God, you believe it's been 8 years since Total Hockey.
It's crazy, man.
Unbelievable.
It feels like 1 year and like 15 years, and But anyways,
there's some days where it feels like it was yesterday, and there's others where it feels like it was a whole lifetime ago.
Yeah, no doubt.
But man, great talking with you. I do want to give you a second and let you kind of tell our audience how they can find you on social media, and how they can interact with you, or anything else that related to Kane Van Gate.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Real quick, let me just say thanks for having me on. This is an absolute blast. I had fun even before that game at the end, but that put me over the edge. That was so much fun. Gosh, just thinking of all those names, like so many good guys at that. I didn't realize what we had back then. Like that was a pretty fun gig. I was wildly underpaid, but pretty fun gig nonetheless. So sorry, back on track. My alter ego is Kane Van Gate 38, the number 38. So that's my handle for Instagram. That's my handle for YouTube. And then my personal Instagram, not that anyone cares, is the real KVG, real spelled with 2 E's. And then same as TikTok, the real KVG. Biggest thing for me is YouTube. If you got any little guys out there, young kids, my first couple of videos are geared towards adults, sort of, not like they're inappropriate, but just humor wise. And then I realize only little kids watch my stuff. So definitely kind of changed the tone of my channel. But if you have any little ones, I'd really appreciate it if you checked it out. Thank you so much for listening. If you still are, I really appreciate it. And Jeff, thank you so much, man. That was a lot of fun. I mean it.
Of course. Yeah. And real quick too, you mentioned you coach youth here as well. I mean, how can anyone get involved in any of your coaching?
Yeah, the easiest way would just be go to racinegoalieacademy.com and sign up. They have the Racing Goalie Academy. I still work for them quite a bit, and Bruce is the best. And they have camps and clinics and group lesson ice year round. So that's probably the best way to get started with goalie training here in St. Louis for sure.
Cool. All right, KVG, thank you very much. Great talking with you. And yes, definitely check out your channel, Kane Van Gate. Great having you on, sir.
So again, a big thanks goes out to Mr. Van Gels. Again, it's crazy that I've been doing this show since 2011. I was doing this show when I worked with him, and I just never had him on. It just, I just think for me, it was like, well, does our audience intersect? And he's probably thought the same thing about us. I'm a global audience. Do I intersect with Let's Go Blues Radio? Of course we do. So I'm glad that we finally found a way to get us talking together for listeners to hear us. And if anyone's tuning in who's just found us through following Kane Van Gate, welcome to the show. Kane's a great dude. Keith, I never know what to call him on this show. In person, it's always Keith. On this show, when I've talked about him and mentioned his videos, it's always Kane. So it's weird. It's a weird spot to be in, but very awesome having Keith on. Again, just a great dude. Talking to a friend of mine, Mason, I play hockey with. His two little boys play hockey, and apparently Keith helps coach their team. He's their goalie coach, and he had nothing but amazing things to say about Keith, and something I totally expect. Again, getting to know Keith over the years. Great dude, great hockey mind, and just a fun dude. Just loves hockey, loves the mentality, totally embodies the mentality of a hockey player. So very cool getting Keith on and having a conversation with him this week on Let's Go Blues Radio. Well, we got another exciting goalie-related thing coming up next week. Next week, actually, no guest, unless you want to count Bill Day as a guest. Bill and I are actually going to break down his first time back on the ice in about 20 years. We previewed that last week on the show that was coming. Next week we're going to have it's going to be pre-recorded like this episode. But yeah, Bill and I encourage you to watch the video instead of listening to the podcast. We're going to do our best for our podcast audience to be able to break things down for you to understand. We've got about a 10, 12-minute video that we're going to show and we're going to talk over that's going to break down the plays that Bill saw in goal. We got footage. We got two different angles that we're able to show you. We didn't set up the cameras in the way I'd hoped to, but still, there is hockey footage of Bill in goal for the first time in 20 years. It was a lot of fun. It was a great night. I mentioned before that our friend Morgan Grzybowski from Alabama State Hockey, she came and she brought her sister with her, and they were fantastic. They were just fun to be out there with. So just a great time. A lot of my friends, one of Bill's friends came too, and we just skated for an hour. And, for Bill, it was just a thrill because it was, again, his first time in so long. And he was so much better than I expected. No offense to him. But, a guy not playing goal in 20 years, you don't know what to expect. He was great. So I'm looking forward to being able to share some of that footage with you and talk with Bill over it so you can kind of understand where his mentality was, how tired he was, how quickly he got tired, that kind of stuff. And again, just impressed by the way Bill played. I thought he had a real good, strong night in goal for a guy who hadn't played in so long. Excited to keep that going this summer. Get him back on the rink a couple more times and hopefully be able to show you some footage of it. Well, that'll do it for this week's episode. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by Mike Burgoyne from Real Brokerage Realty. Email him at mike@strikewithmike.com today for all of your home buying and selling needs. That's mike@strikewithmike.com. And by Wolf Power Washing, St. Louis's premier power washing company with the best rates in town. Call Joe Wolf at 314-420-5434 and get the best looking and greatest power washer in the area. That's 314-420-5434. Thanks again to Wolf Power Washing and Mike Burgoyne from Real Brokerage Realty, two great friends of the show. Happy to have you as part of the family. And please use them. Please, please, please. Using our sponsors helps us out. Please. If you have make a recommendation to somebody who's looking to buy or sell their house, anyone needs a power washing, please use these two wonderful people. They do excellent work. That will do it for episode 39 of season 13 of the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great week, everyone. For Kurt Price, Bill Day, and yes, producer Austin, if he's still out there, I'm Jeff Ponder, and I will talk with you next week. This was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
You thought I was going to say, son of a bitch, didn't you?